Personally, I don't. I think that a lot of voters really don't like fake people, and they're sick and tired of fake politicians. And so what I actually think is worse is saying something you don't believe. And so if during the entire time in campaign season, you're saying that you're down with trans people or like the LGBT community, and then you lose an election, and then the next day you say all that stuff was wrong. I actually think what people are more upset about is someone was doing something they didn't believe and just saying something. Like, if you actually weren't about that life, why did you campaign as though you were?
Should we tell her? Oh, man. Now, remember, she said this before Biden stepped down. Before they kicked him to the curb. Before he blew the motor and transmission. After Trump defeated him. She said this.
And I'm going to say what a lot of these folks aren't saying. I'm just going to say it. If you think that there is consensus among the people who want Joe Biden to leave, that they will support Kamala, Vice President Harris, you would be mistaken. And I'm going to say that because if they're going to come out and say all their little things on background off the record, but they're not going to be fully honest, I'm going to be honest for them. I'm in these rooms. I see what they say in conversations. A lot of them are not just interested in removing the president. They are interested in removing the whole ticket.
They knew they were going to lose. They knew it was over. But those endorsements, the P. Diddy oil, the free concerts, the promotion paid off. The polls, they said, no, wait a minute. We're going to win. Wait, identity politics. She's also, I think, a black woman. She might be Indian. I don't know. But it's going to work, you guys. Everything's going to work. Breathe. We got this in the bag. We called Oprah. We've called the P. Diddy list. We've gotten Hollywood. Everybody. The media's on our side. How can we not lose? The media's on our side. The fake news is on our side. And all we got to do is say Trump is bad and we'll win. And make sure we continue to mention women's rights and abortion. We'll win this thing. We'll break record numbers with women voters. They're going to show up for us. And we're going to defeat Donald Trump. Forget about the economy. Forget about the border. Who cares about the last 4 years? Millions are struggling and dying right now. But just remember, your favorite celebrity said, vote for Kamala. Kamala. How did that work?
Where after years of being called crazy by the left, here they are, some of the most prominent leftists. I guess you could call it coming full circle and essentially admitting that we were right all along. We've identified the Democrat Party's issues basically on day one, that the party's top leaders, the top politicians in the Democrat Party, are essentially a bunch of elitist frauds. But of course, the Democrat Party and the Democrat base has been in denial, and they've refused to accept that they're the party of the elite, that their politicians were essentially a bunch of actors attempting to pull a fast one on them. But now here we are, we've come right back to square one, and even some of the most prominent leftists are essentially mirroring our sentiment. We got a lot to unpack here. Let me show you guys exactly what's happening. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So the question is, of course, well, what the Democrats are asking themselves is how come they got absolutely wrecked in 2024? Well, it seems some of their own are starting to acknowledge a painful truth that the Democrat Party is full of out-of-touch, fake politicians. And it seems like one of the first mainstream people to acknowledge this now is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I guess she's finally coming back to her roots of pretending to be an honest actor that speaks truth to power.
Personally, I don't. I think that a lot of voters really don't like fake people, and they're sick and tired of fake politicians. And so what I actually think is worse is saying something you don't believe. And so if during the entire time in campaign season, you're saying that you're down with trans people or like the LGBT community, and then you lose an election, and then the next day you say all that stuff was wrong. I actually think what people are more upset about is someone was doing something they didn't believe and just saying something. Like, if you actually weren't about that life, why did you campaign as though you were? That, I think, is the actual core issue of the problem.
Yep, that's AOC, one of the loudest voices in the progressive movement, admitting that the Democrats have a serious problem. They're fake. And it seems like the big-brained geniuses on the left have finally realized, I mean, the quote is just astounding to me, that a lot of voters really don't like fake people. Yeah, you think? I think Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez might as well take a look in the mirror, and she might just realize that, well, she's one of them. But delving into Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and her issues isn't really the focus here. No, I'm more focused on the realization. Finally, it's incredible what a loss will do, especially a devastating loss. How can I say this nicely? Actually, I'm not sure if it's even possible. But my view is that the Democrat Party has had their head up their you-know-whats as a whole for a very long time. And I guess all it took was a devastating loss for them to come to the important realization that, maybe, just maybe, it's time to act like a normal, honest human being. It's been 10 years of non-stop lying, 10 years of totally misrepresenting reality. 4 years of Joe Biden in office, and Democrats telling us not only that Joe Biden is fine, but he's the best he's ever been.
Experience is so important. So Joe Biden has vision, he has knowledge, he has a strategic thinker. This is a very sharp president.
Yeah. Hands behind your back, ma'am. Hands behind your back.
Yes, fit for office. The president has three and a half years of delivering for us, going through what we've all been through. None of us are denying.
President Biden is absolutely fit. Trump is the one who is crazy.
And so, yeah, the Democrats have a fakeness problem, and people don't like fake people. And that's exactly why they lost in 2024. They thought they could win by parading out a bunch of fake personas and empty promises. But the American people, whether they're factory workers, entrepreneurs, or just everyday families, saw right through it. They want leaders who are genuine, who don't sugarcoat things, who say what they actually mean. Not this constant appeal to emotion, all these ridiculous distractions and fake promises, meanwhile working behind the scenes essentially to shaft you. What it feels like is finally the chickens have come home to roost, and now finally conveniently the Democrats admit the truth. Now I know some people are giving Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez so much credit for this amazing realization, but I think it's too little too late. They might have dug the hole too deep, but now they're just stuck looking ridiculous. Talking about how fake they are, just the other day Donald Trump visits the White House and meets with Joe Biden, and like I said, it's smile from ear to ear. And of course that raises a lot of questions, not just from us, but again, from lifelong liberals, Democrat shills.
I just don't understand the White House visit. Now, granted, I'm glad it's a peaceful transition of power, but what happened to the threat of democracy talk? What happened to the fascist talk? By the way, I know I've said those things about Trump as well, but I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about his political opponents like President Biden. When they say it, it holds way more weight than me. I'm just trying to figure out how
You don't hear it no more. People are smiling, joking, happy. How you doing, Mr. Donald? Would you like any lemonade, tea, or coffee, Mr. Donald? We got refreshments in there for you. Nah, I'm all right. Well, anyways, nice to see you, Mr. Donald. We're glad to have you back. There's no more dictator. And I told y'all, dictator on day one was years ago. Sadly. He was going to destroy America. He would have destroyed America in his first term.
You go from he's an existential threat to democracy to welcome back.
He was happy too. He was happy. He was smiling. He was grinning. He was cheesing. Say cheese. He was cheesing, bro.
I'm just trying to figure out how.
Happy man.
I understand President Biden believes in political norms,
but we seen it when he put that Trump hat on. Yeah, we seen it when he put that Trump hat on, man. And then Jill shows up in all red on election day.
But damn.
What happened to all the talks of threat to democracy? Well, I guess it was all fake from the start. The Democrats were essentially acting and people can see it. And regular people can see that the priority is more about demonizing the other side in a pathetic attempt to get elected through fear by riling up emotions and causing division, essentially a divide and conquer strategy, rather than actually caring for the interest of working class voters. And that's why we're seeing the incredible shift that we've seen.
What happened? What do you think happened to Democrats?
Well, I think they lost touch with the working class people. It was clearly evident in the election results. And look, this was an economic election. I mean, we still have a lot of our members. We still got a lot of working class Americans that are hurt, and they felt the struggle at the pump. They felt the struggle at the grocery store. And instead of embracing and trying to find a solution to the problem, the Democrats took a position that their opinion mattered, and that's all that mattered. And they wanted to talk down to a lot of working class people. The social issues are important, but at the end of the day, it's putting food on the table, being able to afford a home. And despite, the rhetoric of this is the best economy ever, it really hasn't been. So that's what I believe it came down to, was an economic decision.
We're told a majority.
Yeah, that was the Teamsters president saying the Democrats have lost touch with the working class. No wonder. And it's obvious, isn't it? I mean, he points out Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, two people who supposedly represent the working class. I mean, that's certainly their shtick now, isn't it? But what have they done for the working class? Or not even necessarily action, but even in terms of rhetoric. What have they said for the working class? Zilch. Nada. Nothing. Zero. But they've been going on and on and on and on non-stop about Donald Trump and the Russians and Vladimir Putin and January 6th.
Pointed out to the president I had concerns that all roads seem to lead to Putin.
All roads lead to Putin. They're fake. They're actors. They're obviously playing a game, and the other side just isn't. And that's why we're seeing the shift that we're seeing, and that's why Democrats are finally stuck having to admit the truth. They have to pivot politically. They have no other choice. Because when you look at the other side, the side that's currently winning and winning big league, it's a whole different story now, isn't it? Say what you will about Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, but one thing is undeniable. There's an authenticity there that the Democrats just don't have and clearly can't fake. They definitely tried now, didn't they? But you simply can't fake an actual grassroots movement. The distinction is obvious. Democrats talk a big game, all these reforms, we're going to do all these things. But when they're in office, who's in charge? The power is put into whose hands? The working class people? Of course not. The swamp. The Washington swamp takes over. And meanwhile, on the other side, we're seeing the exact opposite. I mean, just look at Trump's cabinet picks, for instance, going into his second term. A lot of them are controversial. Ooh, controversial. But are they really controversial? Or are they just new, fresh faces, more authentic people that the establishment is scared of? The Democrat Party has one playbook: say the right thing, appease the right donors, and keep up the status quo. But obviously the Americans are tired of that. They're done with politicians who pretend to care while cutting backroom deals. And now the cracks are starting to show, and people are looking at the other side and they're saying, wait a second, this is different. This is new. Democrats and Republicans coming together to actually form a unity ticket? That's interesting. A bunch of fresh faces in Washington who are promising new reforms, balancing the budget, making government more efficient, putting power back in the hands of the people, advocating for free speech. And it seems like they actually mean it. It's not just empty words and empty platitudes, but rather words followed by action. Hey, that seems interesting. And so it seems as though the voters have come to the proper realization. The Democrat Party is fake. And as per usual, the Democrats here are stuck lagging behind. All of a sudden, oh yeah, us too. Oh, we definitely see that the Democrat Party has a fakeness problem. And now, of course, I guess the question is, are they going to reform? Are they going to change? I doubt it. Probably on the surface. It seems like it already started. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez probably won't ever say the word Latinx ever again, and to the shock and dismay of pretty much everybody on X, she's actually removed her she/her pronouns from her X bio. Yep, not even kidding. So I'm sure the Democrats are gonna pretend as if they've learned their lesson, and they're changing and they're now a grassroots organization that really gets it. But I think the way it's gonna happen, and I think really the way it's gonna be perceived, is that they're just a bunch of politically desperate people, and especially fake people, who are gonna work really hard to fake as if they're not fake. At least that's my perception. There's nothing authentically grassroots about this political party, and that's because every time there is, it's very quickly snuffed out by the powers that be. But hey, at least they're actually now admitting that we were essentially right all along. The Democrat Party is a collective of fakes and frauds that has completely lost touch with regular Americans.
Yep.
Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys.
And there's no other way to put that. Just like that, you know? Just like that, y'all. But feels good, man. Things are turning around. It's like America's healing right now. You know, we got some big things coming up, and we got more breaking news hitting the fan. And I think about it, things will be set in stone. Maybe we'll see in the next week or two. We'll see how this thing is playing out, man. But right now we got that thing picked in. And still more to be announced. Still more big announcements ahead. And we're going to keep you guys updated. But we're going to make America healthy again. We're going to make America strong. America safe. We're going to get that thing booming again, baby. Yes, indeed. Make America rich again. Affordable again. Let's do it, baby. You know, nobody cares about Beyonce. The corrupt media, the fake news. CNN is firing people. They finna be MSNBC. It's finna be bought out, removed off air. I mean, but all I can say is, what did you expect? They really thought they could run on Trump bad, Trump fascist, Hitler, Nazis, garbage, dictator. They thought that all could work. All that fake news, bias reporting, all the propaganda, they thought it could work. They thought it could work. And that's why I love making these videos. Because we get to laugh in their face. We get to tell them, how relevant are you now? But hey, let me get up out of here. I love y'all. And I will catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace and love, family.